So.
Hi, my name is Lisa Ryan. I am First Vice President of the Joint Civic Committee of Italian Americans. And we put together a calendar for the month of October celebrating Italian American Heritage Month. And I reached out to Dominic asking him to help collaborate some events for the month. And this was one of them. So I'm very thankful to you, Dominic, and I'm very thankful for you to Giancarlo. We love the movie. I shared it with all my friends. I did have one comment though. There were some elderly women who were unable to get on because they don't have Amazon Prime and they wanted to know where they could buy it. So I don't know if you'll touch on that, if it's for sale anywhere or DVD.
Yeah, no, I've been asked too, maybe it's time. We never did a physical DVD, just kind of the cost associated with that, but it seems like more and more people are asking me maybe a physical copy is something I'm considering now. But anybody without Amazon can get it too. I think you can just put your credit card in if you're not a member, as far as I know.
Okay.
But if not, you can email me and I can get you a link if that's still not working.
Okay, I will let them know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Okay, anybody else want to say a few words before we begin? Okay, start time. Welcome to this, one of the, our first Zoom of this particular kind. Our other Zooms have been aimed at our volunteers, and we're working on. And I want to remind everyone that we are videotaping. We're recording this, and it will appear on YouTube eventually as our effort to preserve all aspects of the Italian American story, especially the story in Chicago. And what our guest tonight has done is what I have hoped that every Italian American creative person or every person of Italian background do. And that is, he used his ethnic identity, his ethnic experience to create a work of art that he shared with the whole community, Italian American and beyond, much beyond Italian American. And this is what we need to do. We need to all tell our story so that it becomes emblazoned in the culture, at least in our subculture, if you want to call it that. And I was really tickled to see all the things that I had in common with Giancarlo's experience and the trip to Italy to visit relatives or whatever, for whatever purpose, etc. And the beauty of Italy and the Italian language. I mean, we got this should be required in Italian language classes in college, and I think it's fantastic work. I saw it again last night, and I saw a lot of additional features to it, and I want to compliment Giancarlo for putting this all together. He's the writer. He's
Thank you.
director.
Thank you, Peter. I can see Peter with a thumbs up.
and all the rest. So let's just turn it over to Giancarlo. And Giancarlo, how did you come on this project?
Well, thank you, Dominic. Let me just say, I know you've been one of our earliest supporters. I believe you were at, as you're leaving right now, Dominic, as I'm complimenting you.
Alexa was turning on. I don't know, someone must have said Alexa.
No problem. I was just saying, I think you were at one of our earliest screenings, if I remember, and you've been so instrumental helping set up an additional screening with Loyola and everything that happened this year. We had to postpone it, but I got to talk with the students of yours and the professoressas, and that was really nice earlier this year. So thank you, Dominic, for putting this together. And I'm hoping everybody will just jump in at some point with any kind of questions you have. I would hate to drag on and talk on and on. I have a couple of visuals here, some behind the scenes photos and whatnot and how we made the movie, but I'm hoping it could be free form at some point. But I'll start just by saying that I'm a Chicago native. I originally actually grew up though in Elmhurst. I guess I'm more of a suburban native, but I live in the city now. But my father was born in Castel San Vincenzo, the real town in the movie. So we used the real town in the film. And ever since I was young, 12 years old, I've been going to Molise, to Castel San Vincenzo. And just from an early age, it just, me ha colpito, it just hit me. And, one day I was just, back then when I was a kid, oh, maybe I'll write a song about the town or write a book or a poem, but I never thought I'd make a movie about it. And I went to Columbia College, Chicago for film, and have loved film and music my whole life. I'm a guitar player, and music is so important to me. And then about 6 years ago now, I moved to Rome, and so I had done like a late in life study abroad. 3 months turned into 3 years. And I ended up moving near the Vatican. I ended up finding roommates on like the Italian version of Craigslist, had no idea, what I was doing, barely spoke the language. And it wasn't until I got there that I really, immersed myself. And I wanted to find a way to drive that little car in the movie. So I ended up being a tour guide part-time, kind of supplementing my income while I was working in film and video. And I do commercials and branded work here in the city, and that's what I did when I lived in Italy. So in my spare time, I was actually a tour guide in that little Fiat 500. And I got to learn Rome by driving that car around, bringing tourists from all over the world. And I said, if I ever make a movie here, I got to put that damn car in the film. And it just ended up being this incredible experience and whatnot. But yeah, how about that for starting, Dominic?
Okay, well, I want to compliment you on your use of the Italian language. If you were born here, is that correct?
Yes, yeah. Born here, I grew up in Elmhurst.
Yeah, so few of us have maintained the language, and you have done a really good job of that. Emilio de Benedetto's on. Okay.
Well, thanks to my father, we spoke more of the dialetto at home. So it wasn't until I got to Italy that, I learned a little more of the, the grammatica, passato prossimo, remoto, all those ridiculous Latin language, phrases and whatnot. And then when I went to Molise, thinking I'd learned Italian, I didn't know a damn thing when I got to the town. They speak a whole nother language. So that was a whole nother movie, I think.
Now, how did you get the resources to do the movie?
Okay, so I put that in here actually. That's a great question. And let's see if I can. I just wanted, this was a copy of the screenplay actually, but we can come back to that because a lot of the people, and rightly so, think a lot of it is improvised, but there really was like a 90-page script that I put together. And there's a little of the dialogue from one of my favorite scenes in here. We can come back to that, but essentially I started an LLC. So I did kind of a crash course in how to start a business. I'm a film guy, I'm an artist. And so my father and uncle helped me put together this LLC, Molise Films. Of course I named the company after the whole region of Molise. But basically I thought of everybody who would give me $1,000. So I reached out, friends and family, even my brother and good friend put in $1,000. I just tried to think of everybody who could help us raise, the money. And we ended up, I think when we got to Italy, it was about 30,000, 26,000. And that was kind of like how to get us on our way, paying the actors, renting the car, locations were pretty much free. A lot of the little towns along the way, along the route.
I
kind of
saw
put us up in the hotels and whatnot. But so things like that, that was kind of our starting production.
you gave them a little bit of product placement there. I see you went through Ferentino. That's not far from my mother's hometown, Amazzano, which a lot of Chicago Heights Italians are from Amazzano, a little village about 10 or 12 miles away from Ferentino, Frosinone.
I'll just say, Dominic, Ferentino was a total surprise. I'd only seen it as an exit on the Autostrada. So when you go from Rome to Molise to Castel San Vincenzo, you see all these towns, like Cassino and Venafro and southern Rome, and our producers saw this beautiful town on the hill, Ferentino, and we just said, oh, we got to go check it out. And they were so welcoming. We ended up having a premiere there for local people because we filmed, a good few scenes there. And that was just like an unbelievable find kind of on the way, or right before the road trip. Right
product placement for that motel. Ron Onesti has a question.
Please.
Ron? Ron raised his hand. There he is. Unmute.
Hey, Ron. Thanks for the kind words before about the film. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'll tell you what, there was so much about it that I was able to connect with and identify with. I mean, one of my favorite parts of the movie is a couple of them, of course. But you kind of, after you lost both your parents and when you're just kind of looking at the pictures, asking, what should I do? What should I do? And, it's something very personal to me too. And anybody who's lost a parent or both parents knows we've all done that. And it was really interesting that a young man of your, a man of your age, typically would really understand the importance of that. And so, that really touched me. But then also on the lighter side, one of my other favorite scenes was with the whole the cafe with all the guys playing briscola and all the, just when they're just all sitting there with the little pierogies and the little cigars. It just you really touched it. And then also, I saw so many familiar, like the neighborhoods of Chicago, and it looked like suburban Chicago. It looked like Norridge, or maybe it was Elmhurst you shot it. So really enjoyed it. A question I did have though, because it's a very Italian film, obviously, and it's also a very American film. But I kind of noticed you really didn't do a whole lot of crossover. Like, was it a cognitive decision not to have English subtitles?
Was it not to have English subtitles? So I know there are in some versions of it. I don't know if it is on Amazon, but I kind of grew up where the Italian kind of went back and forth,
Sure.
The dialetto. So I wanted to make a film, first off, that wasn't just all in English, and you get to Italy and it's like the really bad accents. And so I really wanted to make sure it was Italian, and especially that gnocchi scene, which is my favorite scene in the film. And those are all my aunts, great aunts and uncles and cousins. And so I knew that their English, it would be better if they spoke in Italian. So, I wanted to make sure it was kind of both languages. And we did that. Actually, it wasn't Norwich, but it was right next to Norwich, that scene where my uncle lives. I think it's called Schwartz Village there at Lawrence and Cumberland.
Yeah, right there, right by Harwood Heights.
That was a good eye.
It looked familiar, yeah.
That was I wanted to make sure, Elmhurst would have looked a little too, I don't know, modern or something. So I made sure to pick, and that's where a lot of Italians are still today. A lot of my my uncle and cousins are there, and I wanted to make sure that was authentic. And just quickly, your comment about early on when I'm looking for my brother, I'm looking at the picture of my mother who's passed, and I'm very fortunate that my family is great and fine, and my father is alive and well, in Elmhurst. That was just
good. I was wondering about that.
That's actually a really good friend of ours, a paisan, and from Castel San Vincenzo. And so I was so happy when he said he wanted to play that part, and he signed on. But I tried to think, Ron, like if I had lost a parent or both of my parents, I was just trying to think, what would I say? And I said, like, oh, I feel like I'm like almost an orphan now. And I just tried to channel something, deep inside me. And a few people have mentioned that. And a woman came up to us at a premiere last year and said, wow, like, that's how I felt after my parents passed away. And you really captured that. So that really is touching. And you said that, Ron. So.
Well, I kept, obviously, as we all do, I keep pictures of my folks, near the TV, near the mantle, everywhere, but it was something where your film made me look over at their picture several times during it. And I think we all on the call know what I'm talking about. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rosie Aroma?
Prego.
May I ask a question, Giancarlo?
Sì, vai.
May I ask a question?
In Italian.
Yes.
In italiano. Allora, Giancarlo, te lo posso pure tradurre dopo. No, si parla tanto nelle scuole di edutainment, no? Oltre al libro, anche far vedere dei film nelle scuole. Io faccio la preside in una scuola di Roma e mi chiedevo se il tuo film nelle scuole come filmografia, perché sottolinea molti aspetti che potrebbero essere interessanti agli alunni, soprattutto dei valori umani come il senso di appartenenza, i valori della famiglia.
La linea, è rotta la linea un po', scusa.
Ho capito, sarebbe come dire suggeribile che il tuo figlio scuola i ragazzi hanno dai 3 ai 14 anni.
Ok, perché la linea è, se ho capito, se questi ragazzi di 13-14 anni hai detto...
Sì, il tuo film tu lo potresti suggerire nelle scuole per un valore educativo? Sì.
Okay, she's asking if this is a film that could be put in a school, maybe educational. Sì,
right.
come no. Io infatti ho fatto un paio di discorsi qui a Chicago per i studenti di high school. So I did some speaking at high schools locally here. And
Did you have a problem with the swearing, the parolaccio?
un po', però è vero, it's autentico, I think.
It is.
There's a couple, yeah, and my cousins in Italy too. One who's a professor, it was a little some of the words I wasn't too happy with, but no, I have loved speaking at schools. Mi è piaciuto molto, infatti, because they're really engaged. They always have good questions. They always have good reactions to the film. I did one, I guess it was been a couple years now, in Park Ridge at Maine South, and they were great, and at Niles, Notre Dame, and over here at Sun High School. So I've loved speaking to kids, and the questions have been great. In Italia non lo so, in Italia non ancora. Forse possiamo iniziare this connection, questo networking. E forse, l'anno prossimo posso venire.
Yeah.
Non lo so.
Good. We have invited actors, not film directors, but we would be proud to welcome you anytime as soon as we get over the COVID business. Thank you, Giancarlo.
Thank you. That's all I think about is going back to Italy. So.
Okay, Giancarlo, did the region offer any support, financial support, or in kind?
We were just in such a hurry. I was just so focused on getting it shot and done that I put all my time more into the, getting the actors and finishing the story. So it's kind of, I didn't physically ask, for any, production funds. And that's why I talked about earlier how I raised, a little bit, through friends and family. And but the biggest support is that they, you know, they let us shoot in their little towns and whatnot. Like Ferentino, you know, is just so great. You know, and then like when we got to Castel San Vincenzo, you know, they just gave us the key to the city essentially for a week. So it really was a lot of support in that way, kind of letting us, you know, film, you know, the churches and, you know, and different sites and whatnot. So that was the benefit, I think, from these little towns. So, and they love the publicity too, of course. So I think that was an incentive on their part.
I noticed that you did a really good job of promoting. You had buttons and postcards and a website and all that stuff. Did you do that yourself, or did you have someone help you?
Yeah, so when I got back, you know, when I got back from Italy, we had 80 hours of footage, right? So I was like trying to whittle down 80 hours, 2 cameras into an 80-minute film, which is what ended up being about 80 minutes. So when I was off doing the editing with my co-editors, I had a team of friends and family who were kind of helping me, and interns who were helping put together some of the promotional materials. And I reached out to a friend in LA who put me in contact with a great company who did the poster, which I think you saw earlier. And so, yeah, that's, you know, and I come too from the music background. I played in bands when I was younger. So we were always out there with our posters and pins and t-shirts. We made t-shirts with the capra, you know, the goat, the sheep on the t-shirt. And so we were just trying to get the word out from day one. And I think people were intrigued, you know, Molise esiste. What does that mean? What is Molise? And trying to make that, you know, something people would perk their interest.
Yeah. Any other questions out there at this point? I know I've got a lot of them, but
yeah, please jump in, anybody, keep it free flowing.
who would name their dog Meaty?
We are a pug family, and so I wanted to definitely put a cute dog. They say, you know, put a cute dog in the movie, get you some points, I think. But everybody loves a cute dog. But just you know, a funny name.
How did you get the major other actors? The actor who played your brother, and then the one who played his wife.
So my brother in the film, his name is Antonio, and he's from Bari, and he's actually a professor, an actor, and a professor in Rome. And he's very popular. The women especially always ask me about him. He does have a girlfriend, mi dispiace, però, you know, he's busy with that and lives in Rome. And but essentially, he was cast in my assistant's film. He, a friend of mine, is also a filmmaker, and I saw him in that short film. And I said, who is this guy? I got to meet him. And luckily he was available and loved the idea. And it really came together when I found Antonio, you know, my brother Francesco. And it would have been a totally different film. I got really lucky finding him, even though, you know, I'd written the character, you know, pretty solidly how I wanted the character to be and, you know, who I thought it would be. But when you find the right actor, it brings so much more than you could have ever thought. So, and a lot of the improv, a lot of those scenes when we're on the road together, he's kind of poking at me on the road trip. It's all Antonio and his little bit of his improv.
Okay, T. Giannini has a question. Do you want to ask it yourself, or do you want me to read it from the chat? Did you film all of it in Rocchetta al Volturno? My family is from there. I also noticed Bob Iannotta in the film playing cards in the Piazza in Castel San Vincenzo.
So this is a picture of Rocchetta. This is the lower part of Rocchetta on the right here, where we filmed a little bit of the car driving through. We did not film it all in Rocchetta, but it was all in Castel San Vincenzo, which is just 2 towns over. And we do have friends and family from Rocchetta, and I wanted to make sure that all the little towns of the Volturno region where the Volturno River runs through were documented, and especially because I didn't want anybody to say that their town was not in the film. So we made sure that all the little towns were, we'll come back to that, but we made sure that all the little towns were represented, and I love Rocata too.
Yeah. Okay. We have the. You used a drone for filming.
Yeah, I really tried to make sure that the film, especially when we're in Molise, looked beautiful, looked stunning, like a postcard. And I made sure that we had a drone pilot there to get some of those incredible landscapes of the town, and the lake, that beautiful lake that we have in Castel San Vincenzo, and made sure that he was there. So yeah, we had to remove some of it in post-production and whatnot, but it wasn't too bad.
Kathy Catcherbone asks, is there really a gnocchi fest in Molise?
It was always either I heard it or it's a rumor that there was. There is somewhere. It may not be in Molise. It could be in Abruzzo. I heard it a long time ago, and I thought that was always funny. And I remember that the kids of that town, of the gnocchi festival, dressed up as little gnocchi, and they would dance around as little gnocchi on the Feast of the Gnocchi. And I just thought that was so funny. And maybe in the next movie we'll put the little kids in their gnocchi costumes. But
So what next movie?
But I just I know that's my favorite pasta dish. I love the gnocchi; it's my favorite. So I wanted to make sure that that we did that.
Are there earthquakes in the region?
Yeah, and Molise, unfortunately, and has been hit pretty hard. I mean, that region's ripe of earthquakes, and I kind of joke about it a little bit, but it happens every so often. I know it happened in San Vincenzo about 30 years ago. Luckily, I think everybody was okay. Some of the property was destroyed and whatnot, but yeah, it's common. It's that kind of region.
Is there a follow-up? Is there a follow? What's the next on the horizon for you?
Yeah, Ron, when you make a film in Italy for 2 years, when you come back, it's like, you put all your resources into that. So I've been working, as in production now, as in commercials and doing branded work. So I had to get a real job.
Are you local?
I'm always thinking about the next film, and I was debating on maybe, I know a lot of people like, oh, maybe you could do the sequel, like the My Country, Anna and Francesco come to Chicago, or, with their family. And then I was thinking, no, maybe instead of, a guy or girl from Chicago goes to Molise, maybe a guy or girl comes to Chicago for a year. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. So I want to theme with the Italian theme. And I won't say exactly where I'm at with it right now, but that's always been the next thing, is to make the next film. And I've just been so fortunate that people 2 years later are still talking about My Country and watching it. And I couldn't have imagined that, a couple years ago. So
Bradley has a question.
Yeah.
There's a great project. I think I've got your next project. It's going to be called the Drama, Life and Times of Dr. Dominic Candeloro.
Oh yeah, that would be a real sleeper.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I will sign on for that movie in a heartbeat. I just need $5 million, I think, and we can do it.
Well, you do probably take much more than that.
I'll settle for 50,000.
Bradley Thomas has a question.
Yeah, so my name is really Nick Esposito. That's my partner's name. Okay. And my wife and I it was fun, beautiful. Everything about the movie was great, but I want to share a little grateful insight for you. I'm adopted, and my name is Esposito. The name Esposito is from Naples. Yeah, and it was given to adopted kids. Yeah. I am natively Italian. So when I'm watching the movie, I met my birth brothers about 10 years ago, and it was scary as heck. When you were hiding behind the bushes, I got it. And then when you guys met and you were so excited and he was like, well, I don't know, who are you? I got it. And then when he finally hugged you at the end and was hugging you so much and crying, I did that. And I don't know where you got the insight for that, but it was truly incredible. And I kept saying to my wife, I did that. I understand that. So it was really cool. And I don't know, explain how you came to have that insight.
Yeah, again, I'm not adopted. So I tried to pull it from somewhere. I just tried to maybe put myself in that situation. And, lucky, like you're saying that, it was something that you related to, because it was just an idea that came to me, I would love to think that it would be this, as Francesco says, this Bella family reunion. You get there, you're this wide-eyed American, you're coming to Italy for the first time. And then I'm like, oh no, but what if like he doesn't want to meet me, and what would he, what would he say or do? And so it just.
Well,
was
you nailed it. You nailed it. So I would say when I first met these guys, the first guy comes up to me, does not say hello, looks at me, and I'm a little round around the middle. He's Italian, I'm Italian. He says to me, so it looks like you haven't missed many meals. That was the first words out of his mouth. So, anyway, and I love when you said Brajol. That was phenomenal. I loved it. Anyway, it was a great movie. Thank you so much. You have great insight.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, again, a lot of it was just pulled from the ether maybe somewhere, but I love that scene too when I'm running around in the bushes. I knew that'd be fun to film, so.
It was great.
One of my favorites.
Thank you.
Sandy G has a question. Sandy?
Oh, Sandy Z. Oh, me? Okay, yes. I just want to first congratulate you, such a young person. You did an amazing job on this film. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You're going to be up there with the big ones someday. Hopefully I'll be around to see it. But anyway, I just have a question. When your character Francesco said, when you mentioned about going to Molise, he said in his own English Italian words, no one knows about Molise, but only the people from Molise know about Molise. Is that like a common thing in Italy? Do people say that? Every different towns have different. The Barese have hard heads, and
yeah,
they say that about Molise. Is that a common thing?
Okay, so when I moved to Italy, 5-6 years ago now, I had no idea that was a thing. So I'm coming from, Chicago, Molise, where I'm a member of this club, Molisani nel Mundo on the Northwest side. And I'm thinking, Molise is this wonderful place. I'm so excited to tell people. And then my roommate was like, well, Molise is the smallest region in Italy. I'm like, yeah, well, Molise non esiste. It's so tiny, you should go to Capri, you should go to Florence, Venice. Why do you want to go to Molise? And I'm hearing this from Italians. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, it's like the Rhode Island of Italy. It's so tiny. And so I knew I had to put that aspect of it in the film, and we had a lot of fun, with that phrase. And that's actually one of the script here. That's a scene that I wrote here on the right side. You've never heard of this phrase, Il Molise non esiste, and
that made me chuckle.
And even to this day, I mean, you're from Molise, and somebody might, jokingly, oh, it's like not on many maps, Molise, like, it used to be Abruzzo a number of years ago. And so people still maybe think it's Abruzzo or part of Puglia or, other regions. And so that was my goal too, is to kind of make the region a little more known and get people to visit and enjoy it as much as I have. So great question. Yeah.
I loved it. It made me chuckle. I loved your movie.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. It's been so nice. All the nice comments.
Okay, anybody else have a question at this point?
Yeah, I do. I typed it over to you, Dominic, but you just mentioned about the script. I was curious because you said you filmed 80 hours and then you cut it down to 80 minutes. Is that how you wrote your script for an 80-minute short film, or how did you come up with 80 minutes? Is that typical?
No, so good question. The film, so 90 pages is usually 90 minutes. So I always like to start with a traditional script. It looks just like this. You can see on the left side, the number of revisions that I did. So I was always trying to trim it down. So I never want the audience to feel like they're there too long or getting a little tiresome. So I was always trying to tighten it and make it really, really compact. And when we put all the footage together, again, 80 hours, 2 cameras, it was almost like an hour and 45-minute film. So it was almost 100 and whatever, 10 minutes or something, 105-minute film. And then little by little, I whittled it down. And then when we had, I'll jump ahead, we had our premiere at the Rosemont at the Movie Co. Even after that, I was still editing. Like, we got a little bit of feedback from our premiere, and I was like, I know I can still make it like a great, just tighten it a little bit here and there. And it was 90 minutes at the premiere, and I think I got it down almost to 78 minutes. So it's even like a 78, 77-minute film now. And I think it's in its best form, and people have complimented how it flows really well. So.
It was very well done. I did want more, but I was like, oh man, it's over.
So
I really,
my question
that's
too.
what they say, leave them wanting more, right?
right.
And this is my family. This is my real family on the left here. My mom and dad. So I want to shout out to them who are here listening too.
Okay. Your mom didn't write a book, did she? About well, maybe I read across a woman, Iannotta, a few years ago, and I wondered if that was your mother.
No, not my mother. My mother's not Italian, so it wouldn't have been her.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
But maybe, if they come, let me know. Maybe.
I think it's Mary Di Silvestro Iannotta that he's thinking. Did she write that book?
One of our cousins, of course.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, she wrote a wonderful little book of proverbs in Italian, words of wisdom.
Exclamation mark.
From her mother, this wonderful book from.
She was in IA Literati one year,
Right.
5 years ago. Mark.
Yes. I think she was in the Franoi too, and it's a great book. Things my mother told me, now I'm telling you, I think is the name of it.
So where did you get the balls to do this? I mean, you don't have the money. You are starting off in your career, and you make a film that rivals anything that you see in the theater.
Wow, thank you, Dominic. That's very nice of you. From going to film school and wanting to make films for a long time, I said I am going to make that feature film. I don't know how I'm going to do it. 5 years ago when I was thinking about it, I said there's some way I'm going to get it, done. And I just stopped at nothing. I just wanted, that was just my dream, my goal. And again, I thought of everybody around me who could contribute to the film, and was very fortunate that they had the means, and it just is a testament, just to follow your dreams, really, not to be cliche, but and I could have never imagined I would be still talking about it, and it'd have all these great reviews and people would really enjoy it. And I got to travel all around. I mean, we had a premiere in LA. I got to meet Joe Mantegna at our LA premiere, which was awesome. And I could tell that story, but yeah, it just, where did I get him? Maybe it was passed down from my Italian ancestry, I think, because when my nonno came to America, he didn't have a dime in his pocket and started this great life for us. So maybe I channeled that a little bit.
AJ has a question.
Yeah, hi, ciao. So I wanted to say first how much I enjoyed it. I studied Italian at Casa, Italia for a couple of years, so it was fun to try to practice listening to my Italian again. And I've been to Italy a few times. In fact, I was supposed to be teaching at Loyola's Rome Center this past summer, if it wasn't for COVID. So thank you for giving me a little taste of Italy when I couldn't get there this year. But I wanted to ask about the writing. I'm a writer myself, and I'm just wondering, like, what was your process like with the screenwriting? Were you working with any partners, any critique partners? Did you run it past fellow Italians to get their feedback?
Yeah, so for this, it was odd because usually I'll send the script to my collaborators, friends and family, and get feedback. And maybe because I was so close to the story that I maybe had feared a little bit of maybe getting a little bit of, oh, I don't know about this and that. So I would give them more like they call it like a treatment, like a scene breakdown, and that's what I included to my investors. And I was like, well, this is what I'm thinking. Like, it'll start with the road trip and this and that, and because I knew too that a lot of it would be the actors would bring a little bit of improv, and it wouldn't be exactly how I wrote it, which was fine. Like, as much as we could elevate it, that would be great. But you could kind of see that, like, I spent so much time just kind of finessing it and rewriting it. And I mean, how many 6 or 9 months or so, however many months I was working on it, right up until we started shooting pretty much. So it was always evolving, always reworking it. And then really once you get to set, it's only like 50%. I mean, once you get there and you're on the ground, then it really all comes together. I think that's a whole nother life of the story. So
I was just thinking, like, with the flipping back and forth between Italian and English too, was that a lot of just what naturally, like, here's what naturally is coming out in Italian and here's what's naturally coming out in English?
Yes. And I probably wouldn't recommend that to a first-time filmmaker. Maybe just pick one language for your first film, and maybe don't film the majority of it in a foreign country where you speak your language isn't the best. And but anyway, so yeah, it was a lot of English and Italian, but that's kind of how I grew up and how I knew people would maybe feel it would be more authentic.
Giancarlo, I think the language was fantastic. I'm getting old and deaf, so I usually put the closed captions on, and they were there for me. I watched it again on Amazon Prime last night, and I know enough Italian to have understood almost all of it, but then with the English words beneath it, I thought I understood completely. And I don't know who did it, who's responsible for it, but the brother's mixture of English and Italian and his mastery of English swear words, it was beautiful. It was perfect and natural, and it tells a lot about the language as well. And I think kids in Italian language classes might benefit from it.
Yeah, and that was a lot of Antonio bringing that in. And of course, they have all the American movies and shows that we like. Now Netflix just arrived when I started making the film there in Italy. So they're seeing everything that we're seeing, and they, are getting more of the dialect, the American dialect, and more than we are in some ways, that was, again, getting the right person, and Antonio spoke pretty good English, was beneficial too. So.
And what are you doing with the outtakes?
Yeah, that's a good, you know what? I have not put together a outtake video yet. There are plenty. I mean, it'd be a great little piece to put up. I think the reason why is because I took a little time away from it. I was just with it every day for so long. I think now it would be a good time to go back and look at it and reminisce and laugh a little bit. And is in the moment you're just so stressed, and it's like you're pushing like a rock up a hill every day. Just coming to bear down on you at any moment. So maybe now would be a good time. Have a little fun with it. But we put up a bunch of behind the scenes pictures and whatnot. And then the most interesting, sorry, Dominic, would be that the Cinquecento is that the flat tire, fell off essentially.
And drive shaft.
Yeah, yeah. It's the last day of the last scene, the Cinquecento broke on us. And it was so devastating. We had to get a tow truck. And I thought the movie was a total shambles. You know, I had no idea. I didn't know if we had got it. And yeah, oh my gosh. It was, again, like, that's why I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go back and look at all that craziness. But now I can laugh a little bit.
The Casa Italia Library Archives would be interested in the outtakes. We have the outtakes of And They Came to Chicago. And, that adds up to about 50 half-hour or more interviews, video interviews with important Italian Americans of 2007. So if you're, well, let's talk sometime, and maybe you'd be interested in, I don't know, what format are they in? Are they all digital or?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all, you know, you go, you know, digital, QuickTime, but you can, you know, it could be a whole nother movie probably. Maybe there is some material there.
Well, that could be said of a lot of movies, I guess. Okay, any other questions on John? He involved in the Casa Italia Library, spoken there. John, is John out there? Oh gosh. Okay, I don't understand that question. Okay, we had an appreciative thing from Emilio Benedetto. He appreciated it because his father saw the film and the wonderful scenes, the drive shots of Pizzone. It gave my dad a chance to celebrate and be proud. Emilio, are you still there? Do you want to elaborate on that?
It doesn't come up that you did it.
That's so nice of you. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Emilio.
Hey, Giancarlo. As you know, my mom is from San Vincenzo, and so there's always been a little rivalry with my parents between San Vincenzo and Pizzone. So it was just kind of fun to, you know, have most of the movie centered around my mom's town of San Vincenzo, but, you know, have that beautiful shot, the drone aerial shot of Pizzone. And my dad, who's now deceased, you know, was really, you know, proud of that beautiful shot of Pizzone. And you did a great job with all the surrounding towns, you know, of just giving all the immigrants here, you know, a chance to really be proud of where they came. You know, they're all such small towns, and I think a lot of these immigrants kind of think of themselves as you know, being simple people, and you know, you did a great job of showing like the richness of their life.
I'm so thankful, Milo, and your dad was one of my favorites. You know, the De Benedettos are paisans of ours. We all belong to this Molizani nel Mundo club. And from an early age, he was always, you know, either whether it was, you know, at the picnics, the dinner dances, and the bocce court, you know, making us laugh. And I have so many great memories, you know, of your father and family. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to tell a story like this, because I'm just so fortunate to have grown up in such a wonderful tradition, you know, this sense of community and roots and where we come from. And it was so great to see him. You know, I believe he came to one of the premieres, and you know, and my condolences again to your family and what you've been through this year. He just was the best.
Incidentally, Emilio was one of the subjects of oral history interviews that I did in the 1980s.
Oh, I love
We have it at Casa Italia, and if Emilio, you want to check it out, get in touch with me.
Thanks, Tommy.
Okay.
Thank you, Emilio.
More questions?
Giancarlo, can I ask a question? Can I
Okay.
ask another question?
Sure, sure.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there are a few actors in Italy that are also film directors, like Carlo Verdone. I met his father a few years ago, Mario Verdone. He founded History of the Cinema, which he taught at university, and Pieraccioni, who represented Toscana. Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, so I'm very familiar with Carlo Verdone, and some of my favorites are like Nanni Moretti. I love, like, obviously Roberto Benigni, Life is Beautiful, one of my favorites. Gianni Stecchino, I think, is still probably the funniest Italian comedy. Some of the newer directors like Paolo Sorrentino, who did La Grande Bellezza, which won the Oscar a few years ago, and The Great Beauty. And Matteo Garrone. Yeah, I love Italian cinema. And I've been fortunate. One of the film festivals that we played at was the San Diego Italian Film Festival. And I love going there because they always have the new Italian movies. And I was there last year with another film, a little documentary I made about some of the paisans that came from Molise that emigrated here. And I've been able to see a lot of them, those films here when I'm not in Italy. So shout out to the San Diego Italian Film Festival. Great community, unbelievable. Very, very, very cool community, Italian community. But yeah, I haven't seen anything recently though. It's been, I guess, a little while with everything going on. I guess hard to.
Okay.
Do you believe that it is an advantage to, as a film director, also to be able to perform as an actor?
You know, this is actually my first acting role. I always wanted to be behind the camera, and it wasn't until I moved to Italy and I started doing little video blogs, little vlogs, where I was in front of the camera for the first time. And so I like the joke, you know, we filmed the movie in 18 days, and now I have 18 days of acting experience. So I don't, you know, I would say it's an advantage because now I know a little more how to work with actors, being, you know, in front of the camera, you know, needing that time. You know, I always felt like I was kind of slowing down the production because I needed an extra take, or, you know, I wasn't sure I had to go and look behind the camera all the time. Again, I don't know if I'd recommend it to a first-time filmmaker to, you know, shoot your film in a foreign country and be the actor, the director, the producer, and the editor. But I guess it was the only way I was comfortable doing it. Maybe a little of my perfectionism, but I was so close to the material, and it was hard to find somebody, an American too, who spoke decent Italian. So I was like, you know what, if I have to do it and I have to put myself in the movie, I'll do it, you know, to make it. So.
Okay. Giancarlo,
Thank you.
tell us about your honors and especially about the showing of your film for the National Italian American Foundation with the Russo brothers.
Oh, yeah. So I got to, last year, I got to show the film. I wish I had a picture here, but the National Italian American Foundation in Washington, D.C., they have an annual event every year, a big gala. And they honor a region of Molise, a different one every year. And last year they honored Molise. And I, you know, immediately reached out, you know, saying, hey, you know, my name is Giancarlo Iannotta. I made a film in Molise, and they saw the trailer and immediately you know, jumped on it and invited me. And there's pictures of it on our Facebook page, but yeah, it was an unbelievable spotlight on our region. And they showed my film. It was a wonderful screening, and they had cooks from Molise and an expo where you could try different food and wine and limoncello from Molise, and all authors and whatnot. A lot of the Italian consulates were there, dignitaries, and so that was really exciting. And actually tomorrow night they're having their virtual gala and they're honoring Dr. Fauci tomorrow. So it's an online. I think anybody can watch it tomorrow. It's niaf.org, niaf.org, and you can see. I think De Niro is going to be there. Coppola. It's going to be an unbelievable event tomorrow.
You're almost as good as this.
What's that?
Almost as good as this.
Not as good as yours.
Presentation.
Not as good.
I want to put Ron Onesti on the spot. Ron, when are you going to schedule this for the Arcada?
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah, he's
Are you still there, Ron?
he must be working on an event now. He's always got something going on.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that this deserves another look, and I know it was very popular in the theaters, but I think it's a movie for an audience to be at. I think that in the audience that I was in, there were a lot of people who recognize the things, the feelings and experiences, and it grew on itself, or it fed itself very well. Okay, we've
so that's
about an hour.
I love that people have been able to find it through Amazon, and the reviews have been so nice and positive. If you were able to see it, with us at one of our screenings, I mean, the energy, is just electric. And I really hope that we get to experience films again in a theater soon, because seeing it on the big screen with all your friends and family, and a lot of the Italians, they're laughing at all the right parts, and the little jokes that maybe an audience like at the Brooklyn Film Festival, which was amazing, a dream come true, wouldn't all catch the little Italian idiosyncrasy. So, that's, I guess, my little plea that hopefully, the theaters come back and we can watch more films, because it's so important to see it with an audience.
Okay, any last questions and final points that you want to make, Giancarlo?
No, again, the film is on Amazon now, and mycountryfilm.com is our website. And if there's any last questions here, please, any we can end with, that'd be great. We really enjoyed it.
A point, if you're looking for My Country, don't just type in My Country, because there are dozens of films, etc. Type in My Country Giancarlo and you get the right film.
Or My Country Movie too, that one comes up.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank Giancarlo, and I think the whole group here.
Grazie.
Let's give him a round of applause, a virtual round of applause.
Thank you.
This is just like The View.
Bravo.
Thank you. Bye.
Bravo, Giancarlo.
So nice of everybody. You made my day, made my weekend.
This makes me want to do it again.
And for the next one, we'll get the next one going.
Okay. Well,
hopefully soon.
Before you go, please tell me the top speed on that Fiat.
Well, it only has 3 gears, so it's really not that fast. Maybe 60 kilometers. What would that be? 80 miles an hour?
60 times 6, 36.
Oh, the other way.
No.
The other way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's really it's more for looking at, for taking pictures, I think, these days. But and you can see, that the damn thing broke down, on the highway a couple of times.
Why were you usually driving on the left side?
Driving on the left side?
Yeah, I noticed that you weren't really on the right side of the road when you were driving it. Is that some kind of mirror image in the film?
He's just acting on it, I think.
Oh, another question, a technical question. This shouldn't be the last one, but did you do this on digital video? or was it film?
Yes. And that was really important to me too. As much as I love film and the beautiful film magical particles, I wanted to shoot it more kind of documentary, kind of like you're there in the moment, hopefully experiencing it. And especially having 2 cameras, it was really resourceful to do it that way, digitally, rather than film. It can be so expensive, and then I could watch the footage every night. I could go back at the end of the day and look at what we put together and filmed and what we need to tweak. So big proponent of digital filmmaking. It's given filmmakers like me and so many others an opportunity, to do this, to democratize filmmaking. So.
I got an iPhone 12 for my birthday. Can I make a movie?
There is no more excuse not to make a film. I've even seen one on an iPhone, Dominic, so you can make one on an iPhone now. I've seen it. It's already been done, so.
Okay, well, our thanks again to Giancarlo Iannotta. We look for great things to happen in the future that will benefit our community. And we thank you for the contribution of this film, My Country, Giancarlo Iannotta. Thanks.
Thank you. Sandra, did you had your hand up? Or last really quick?
I just have a crazy question. In the beginning, where you filmed yourselves having dinner at a restaurant in Chicago, just curious, where was that?
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. That is Lucia's Italian Gourmet Ristorante in Wicker Park, Bucktown.
Oh, okay.
North Avenue in Honore. It's one of our paisans from Pizzone. Pizzone has been coming up a lot tonight. Dominic
Mancini.
Dominic Mancini is our paisan and runs it. It's named after his wife, Lucia, who's Siciliana. And it's
He
our
makes
favorite.
the best tiramisu in the city.
I'm glad I asked that question. We will go there.
Everything. And then they are also BYOB. So we love
my
it.
husband will like that. Perfect.
They are BYOB. Lucia's, and they're and I love them. I was just there earlier in the year and I can't wait to go back.
We have a question from Nora.
Thank you.
Question from Nora.
Oh, hey, Nora. Nora's my girlfriend, everybody.
She's the girlfriend in the film?
We're spoiling the fun.
Hey, when are you gonna make a movie in Ireland?
Yay! Third question.
Yay! We'll do the next one, and you're gonna be in it, Tom. Sounded like your dad. Oh my gosh, nice.
Is there anything else? This is your moment. We're going to cut off in a minute or less.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you, Dominic, for hosting this.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you, Dom.
We'll try to do it again sometime. I'm really enthused by the quality of this event. Ciao, ciao.
Giancarlo, ti aspetto a Roma, Arrivederci a
Ciao,
Roma.
arrivederci.
Ciao, arrivederci Dominic.